4 teams still in the hunt for a national championship here in 2022. Only 1 team is still unbeaten, however. North Greenville, your number 1 seed, taking on the Golden Rams of Westchester. Lincoln Rose along with Joe Castellano. Joe, we could have been down to 3, but moments ago, Point Loma suffered its first loss, and it was a convincing loss dealt to them by the All-American pitcher in Whitehead, along with their opposition, the Tars of Rollins. And now those 2 teams are sitting back and quietly rooting for Westchester, because if North Greenville wins tonight, they will still be unbeaten going into that championship weekend and have the decisive advantage. Of course, North Greenville, they look like a team that is up to the task the way they have dominated this week.
Yeah, they played so well. They won their first game against number 8 seed Westchester. They get the rematch here, but that was a 3-1 game, a tight one. Then they blew out Angelo State 18-3. Meanwhile, Westchester, after losing that game to Greenville, they have had to win facing elimination, and they were able to do it against Southern New Hampshire with a late comeback, won that game 7-3, and then blew out Angelo State 12-2. So they try to win 3 games in 3 days today.
North Greenville is your visiting team in this matchup. If Westchester is able to hand them a loss tonight, they would meet again tomorrow, with North Greenville being the home team. So Garrick Octavio leads things off against Gabe Rappa, who gets the start for Gabe. His 13th appearance, all but 1 as a starter this year. 6 wins, 2 losses. Through a little over 55 innings of work. Has struck out 45 opposing hitters, batting .260. As for Octavio, the Hawaiian, 5th-year senior. 1 home run this year. Came into this week batting .343. North Greenville, 52-10 on the season. Easily dispersed of another team with 50 wins in Angelo State. As this one shot out towards center, Zach Wright underneath it, 1 away. So again, second time we're seeing Rappa this week.
Left fielder, number 4, Ethan Stringer.
As Ethan Stringer, former Louisville Cardinal out of Independence, Kentucky. Came into this week batting .317 with 6 home runs. Ethan's been your everyday left fielder this year for North Greenville and head coach Landon Powell. Count 0-2.
His 1 hit was a home run so far in this tournament.
Home plate umpires Adam Berg. His colleagues out there, Scott Wyckoff, Ray Chamberlain, and Josh Gottlieb. The 0-2 pitch to Stringer, as he'll fight that one foul. Rappa, the New Jersey native, on the mound, the sophomore. 1 of 4 transfers out of LaSalle, making their way to this Golden Rams program. The only team this week that had previously won a national title. They've done so twice. Over the left side, says Tuwicki at shortstop. Able to make the throw, and that's an ideal start for Gabe Rappa with this defense behind him, 2 up, 2 down.
Sestawicki has a really good arm at shortstop. And this is a resilient team. Remember, they were trailing Southern New Hampshire 3-0 of an elimination game on Tuesday, middle innings. Came back with a 5-run 8th and won that game.
There have been so many great comeback from injury stories on the teams we've seen this week, and among the best, John Michael Fail. As he will line it into the glove and force us to put a pin in that story. Zach Miles squeezes it in. It is a 3-up, 3-down inning for the number 1 seed, North Greenville. They'll grab their gloves. Westchester will grab their bats. Home half of the first in a scoreless affair. North Greenville is guaranteed at least 2 ball games remaining in 2022, including tonight against Westchester. Unbeaten this week, Seth Chestnut gets the start. the fifth-year senior out of South Carolina. This is his 12th appearance, his 6th start. Has 4 wins to show for it so far this year. A 3.86 ERA through 21 innings, 17 strikeouts, opposing hitters batting .222. And the first batter he will face, Zach Wright of Westchester. Westchester's been battling for their baseball lives the past couple of days. Wright, the grad student this year, second team All-Region, first team All-Conference East Division in the Penn State Athletic Conference. North Greenville bats went in order in the top half of the first. Chestnut hoping that Westchester bats will behave similarly. As Justin Horn is on deck, Joe Kalick in the hole. Pitch in there for a strike.
Well, Westchester, they might have been feeling the pressure to win in an elimination game yesterday against Angelo State, but that pressure was released right away when they scored 4 in the first.
Zach was 1 for 4 against North Greenville pitching earlier this week. Was robbed of a base hit early in the first inning. Would bounce back with a single in the third.
One of the best base stealers in the country when he gets on base.
Right up the middle. Bivens from behind the bag over to first, not in time, and we will have a chance to see whether Zach Wright's base-stealing prowess has traveled to Cary.
Well, his speed is going to be a factor in any game that he's playing, and that was a factor right there. He just grounds one up the middle and beats the throw from the second baseman, Octavio. And you got to watch him on the bases. I mean, this is a great effort here by the second baseman coming over. I wasn't sure if really the shortstop should have fielded that. But with Wright, 39 steals and 44 attempts. He has been picked off the bases a couple times here that were head scratchers.
He had one game that was a rough outing. Here's Justin Horn. In that 3-1 loss, Justin was the only Golden Ram to touch home against North Greenville earlier this week. Justin was 1 for 3 with a single and a sac bunt against Westchester that day. Against North Greenville that day.
But he has powered his way with a home run, his first of the year yesterday.
Pretty good timing.
Part of the 4-run first inning, and then they scored 6 in the fourth to blow out Angelo State 12-2 yesterday.
North Greenville handed Angelo State that first blowout loss, and Westchester picked right back up against a hobbled team from Texas, handing them their second loss yesterday.
You had to feel for Angelo State because they went out by being outscored, 18-3 one game and 12-2 the other.
In their 3 games, Angelo State never got a starting pitcher out of the second inning. Runner on first, Zach Wright. Justin Horn at the plate with a 1-1 count to his name. Off the mark, 2-1.
But Westchester has outscored their last 2 opponents 19-5 to get into this game, facing elimination.
That's after they were held to 1 run in the loss against North Greenville earlier this week. You can basically think of this as a 3-game series. North Greenville's already taken game 1 against Westchester. Only needs to take 1 more to move on to the final pairing against either Point Loma or the Tars of Rollins. Rollins have won 3 straight elimination games now.
That's going to be a great game tomorrow for Point Loma and Rollins to try to get to the title game.
Difference is now Point Loma will have an All-American on the mound, while today Rollins had their All-American on the bump.
Yeah, they got a complete game out of Jalen Whitehead.
If you don't believe it, his mom kept score.
For over 150 pitches.
Incredible. The 3-1 to Justin Horn with Wright on first. This will get through. What an at-bat for the DH for the Golden Rams. Back-to-back singles for Westchester, as Horn able to shoot one through the left side.
Well, he's starting to hit the ball hard lately. And this Golden Rams team, their offense is really clicking. Ever since they came back against the Penmen, they just seem to be really locked in as a team.
Number 6, Joe Kalick.
Brings up Joe Kalick, the sophomore out of Southampton, Pennsylvania. Your everyday left fielder this year. Only your first baseman, Jordan Halliday, cheating up on the infield grass in the event of a bunt here from Kalick. And Kalick does square around. Withdraws as the pitch high.
Good decision right there to take that pitch. Tough to bunt a pitch that's up by your eyes.
Again, good things can come from that, though, from squaring around early. You get that bat in the line of vision of your catcher, in this case, Jax Cash. I think we've seen 3 different catchers for North Greenville.
Yeah, we have. You want to bunt towards third.
Kalick gets the bunt down. Chestnut looks for the lead out, gets it. Seth Chestnut, no room for hesitation. Able to track it down and go straight to third with the throw. Monteith secures it, out number 1.
Well, the problem with that bunt is that you want to bunt towards the third baseman, not anywhere near the pitcher to give him a chance to make the play, and that was the problem. He had a chance to make this play, and that really was a good play by Chestnut, but you got to bunt it towards the third baseman and make him field the ball, but that's not what happened there.
Chestnut makes him pay with the perfect play defensively. Here's Mike Ferrara, your cleanup hitter. Golden Rams have not been able to bring home a run yet. And North Greenville forced them to strand a pair of runners here in the first. His first pitch to Ferrara, fought foul. Ferrara, the senior, who homered on his birthday back on the 7th. 2 days ago, first team all-conference East Division and the Penn State Athletic Conference. A big cut, 0-2.
Transferred to the Golden Rams from right here in this state of North Carolina, UNC Greensboro.
4th batter in the lineup, 4th batter this inning. A couple of singles and a fielder's choice, 2 on with 1 out. Seth Chestnut gets the starting nod for North Greenville. Got him on 3 strikes. 2 away.
Now batting the right fielder, number 11, Luke Cantwell.
That'll bring up Luke Cantwell, as the number of Cantwells in this game has plummeted 50%. 50%.
Right.
His brother got the starting nod in their last elimination game. Andrew Cantwell, a spectator here today. And right now, the burden on Luke's shoulders to try to make something out of this inning, in which the first 2 men reached on singles against Chestnut before Seth himself was able to execute defensively and subsequently pick up his first strikeout.
Andrew, by the way, pitched 7 innings of 1-run baseball in getting the victory the other day for Westchester. So he did his job as the pitcher, and Luke trying to do the job with the bat. He made a nice play defensively out in right field earlier in this tournament, so he has contributed.
And for Westchester, it's all about trying to save arms in case they can force 2 games against North Greenville. Nice job by Jax Cash, your catcher, for this one. Keeping that ball in front of him.
A couple of these catchers, they learned from Landon Powell, the head coach for North Greenville, because he caught in the major leagues. He's been working with some of these guys since they were young kids. Jax Cash, since he was 12 years old, worked with Coach Powell.
Yeah, Cash is a Spartanburg product who first went to USC. Speaking of Jax Cash, money with the throw down to third. And after The Golden Rams get the first 2 men on. 0 runs scored. We are even through 1 here in Cary. Well, after a bumpy bottom of the first for North Greenville, they are able to match zeros with Westchester. Now let's see if North Greenville can find its first base runner here early in this ball game. Merrick Kloop leads things off, your cleanup hitter. Merrick on the year batting just under 400 with a 394 clip, 12 home runs, and a total of 35 extra base hits. Joe's 73 runs batted in, not good enough to make Merrick your leader on this team. As this one shot out to Zach Wright in center. 1 away.
He's been slowed down a little bit as far as his numbers as the season has gone on. He's gotten a little fatigued. Coach Powell told us that. And he's 1 for 8 here in Cary, but you never know when he can explode. He's such a talented player.
That'll bring up Pat Monteith. Was 0 for 2 against Westchester earlier this week. Did walk twice and steal a base. As he faces Gabe Rappa for the first time.
Hit a home run the other day. Blasted one over the left field wall. His last official at bat that he had the other day.
Pat's back in the 5 hole after he had filled in the 3rd spot in the lineup in the absence of John Michael Phil. Monteith was last year's conference freshman of the year in the Conference Carolinas. This year's 2nd team all-conference, the sophomore out of Charleston. And the first 3 pitches he has seen, all of them failing to meet the standard of the strike zone, 3-0. Four-pitch walk with 1 out to Pat Monteith. Again, his 3rd walk against the Golden Rams alone this week.
Rappa worked in relief earlier in this tournament. Walked 2, struck out 2, in 1 1/3 scoreless innings, 1 hit allowed. And that curveball missing low, missing high with a fastball at the end of that at bat.
Here's Josh Center, who is 0 for 3 against the Golden Rams with a walk. Reached on a couple of fielder's choices, managed to steal a bag as well. They'll keep Monteith honest over there at first.
He has a perfect 16 for 16 on stolen bases.
Including, again, the one against Westchester. His only attempt this week. Again, Josh Center. Wonder if he's fired up to see that Mount Olive logo over the left field wall. Our co-host all these years. As this one into foul territory. Ferrara over towards the bullpen. Almost able to make it, but just runs out of real estate. I mentioned that about Josh Center. They played a doubleheader in conference against Mount Olive, and he had walk-off hits in both ball games.
Wow.
A home run and a single. Another look at the effort here from Ferrara.
I thought he had room to make this catch, and he just could not come up with it. He made a great effort.
With the defensive plays we've seen this week, you just assumed somehow he would.
Especially today, earlier today, we saw so many sparkling plays in the field.
One player literally left his mark.
Tearing out a piece of the home run wall out there, the covering of the wall.
Runner on first, Monteith, center. Takes the 1-1 offering and shoots it into left field. 2 men on for North Greenville, their first 2 base runners here early on, as they are threatening to find that first run. First base hit belongs to Josh Center.
Ferrara wishes that he caught that ball. But again, that was a tough play to try to reach over the railing there.
Brings up another former Gamecock, pride of Sumter, South Carolina, Jordan Halliday. Jordan back over at first. We've also seen Zach Zara field that position.
It's kind of a good pipeline to get players from the University of South Carolina that might not be getting as much playing time as they would like. And, of course, head coach Landon Powell played for the Gamecocks, played in the College World Series with them before he went on to a Major League career.
Yeah, along with his assistant, former Gamecock Trey Dyson.
By the way, Landon Powell grew up right around here. He went to Apex High School, which is nearby. And he said that this used to be a farm out here, and he'd be riding his four-wheeler and fishing in the ponds. Of course, now you got the great USA baseball facility.
They don't even allow puddles around here anymore. Grounds crew is fantastic.
Oh, an incredible facility. The field is just impeccable. And then you're going to have the USA baseball offices past the left field wall that they are doing construction on. So that'll be done, and it improves even more.
Well, there will be an indoor venue as well below them. The 2-0 to Halliday. After the one-out walk to Monteith and the subsequent single for center. This is one of the more experienced lineups in all of Division II entering the year. It was led by last year's Conference Carolinas Player of the Year, John Michael Fail. Mentioned Freshman of the Year, Pat Monteith a year ago. But Stringer, Center, Kloop, all big returning bats. Octavio was your returning batting champ in the conference. North Greenville had high expectations, and so far living up to those expectations. Number 1 seed this week, the only team without a loss now, as of earlier today when Point Loma suffered its first. Halliday fights off another. Monteith and Center, your base runners. North Greenville forced Westchester to strand a runner. Westchester, I think you could argue, ran their way out of a promising inning a moment ago. Southpaw Rappa, the payoff pitch pending. Runners are going with one out, and they will have to retreat.
Getting back to the job that Coach Landon Powell has done with only 6 scholarships on this team. You think about that. And he has really formed a team that is perfectly suited to do well here. I mean, the great pitching that they've had, even though he didn't expect it to be as good as it's been. But he has also talked a lot about the makeup of this team, which they have bonded really well getting to this point.
Again the 3-2 with 2 men on for North Greenville. Got him. Oh, too close to take. Halliday down on strikes. 2 away.
Holiday thought it was ball 4. He was heading to first base. But that breaking ball by Rappa, look at that, like backdoor slider, just hits the outside corner.
Little help from his catcher, John DiMucci, to frame that one up. Speaking of catchers, Jax Cash. Imagine not a lot of men are going to be running on Cash the rest of this week after seeing his throw last inning. Cash getting to swing a bat here.
He has a great arm. He's also a pitcher. He's a pitcher and a catcher.
Well, he threw a strike last inning. It's all defensive team in conference this year. But he's also a .333 hitter entering this week. Cash was in the starting lineup almost every game this year. Not necessarily always behind home plate. With a talented rotation of catchers. That one not tempting, 1-1.
When he was transferring out of the University of South Carolina, he was considering other offers from D1 schools, but he really wanted to play for Coach Powell. So here is Jax Cash.
Well, they've proven that you can go from Tigerville, South Carolina to professional ball. As this one fought foul.
He had to come back from Tommy John surgery as a pitcher. Of course, that affects him throwing the ball as a catcher, but I mean, he just looked great on that throw that we saw down to third base in the last half inning.
Cash, the 8-hole hitter here. 5th batter this inning. Can Gabe Rappa get out of the 2nd without any damage done? He walked Monteith, the single from center, and moments ago a huge 3rd strikeout called on Halliday to inch Rappa closer to getting out of the 2nd. Back-to-back strikeouts for Gabe Rappa, strands 2 for North Greenville as the Golden Rams have held serve. They are your home team here tonight in the 2nd meeting this week with the number 1 seed as they will go grab their bats for a 2nd time. Scoreless in Cary. Reasonable trek across state lines from South Carolina to North Carolina to take this one in to cheer on NGU, your number 1 seed. And at the moment, your favorites to win it all by virtue of having yet to lose. Although we saw Point Loma earlier today in a similar situation on 2 days rest. Ultimately fall. All-American pitcher had a little something to do with that. Point Loma will have their All-American tomorrow. They are hoping to throw against one of these 2 teams. That's not going to be the case. Luke Cantwell was standing at the plate. You see Keith Flaherty in the on-deck circle. But Cantwell was at the plate when a teammate was caught stealing 3rd. As ultimately Justin Horn was thrown out to end the inning. So it's Cantwell back with a fresh count against Seth Chestnut. It's after the first 2 Westchester hitters singled off Chestnut, who then dialed it in. Got out of the inning without any damage.
What's interesting, Westchester all year, they'll steal bases like crazy. They're 3rd in the nation in stolen bases. They only have a couple of them here, though, and they haven't had that many opportunities. But that didn't seem like the right time to be stealing 3rd with 2 down.
Westchester, when the reseeding this week took place, the 8 seed. So the polar opposite to North Greenville, but of the 2 games North Greenville's played in, Westchester played them the closest, though same outcome. North Greenville 2 games, 2 wins.
You'll see Jax Cash looking into the dugout to get the sign from Landon Powell, who calls the pitches, with a little help from John Michael Fail, who is normally the starting catcher and can call his own game, but he's been out, DHing. He was out, now he's back as a DH and not catching because of that knee injury. So he helps out Coach Powell as they call the pitches.
The 2-2 to Cantwell. And he's got a base hit to lead off the 2nd inning. That likely would have brought a run home had he been able to complete his at-bat back in the 1st. 3rd hit for Westchester. 2nd straight inning they get their leadoff man on.
Just about everybody in this lineup can run, so you always have to be aware of it. But after we saw that throw by Cash to 3rd base,
yeah,
I think you might be a little more reticent to try to steal bases.
Modest lead for Cantwell at 1st. We'll say the first baseman Jordan Halliday, like most first basemen this time of day, are staring right into a setting sun. But no problem tracking that ball with the sunglasses on into his mitt. Mentioned Luke Cantwell over there on 1st. Tomorrow's his 23rd birthday, so right now his goal is to play North Greenville again on his birthday, as opposed to be beginning his off season. Philly native Keith Flaherty at the plate with a big cut. Flaherty, one of the many grad students we're seeing this week by virtue of that additional year granted for eligibility by the NCAA. Flaherty batting .297 this year. Up the middle, well shaded. That ball dropped.
Oh, they're saying out.
No.
Now, you can't drop a ball on purpose, but if it appears that it just dropped out, that's a different story. But I think they're making the call here. The second base umpire, Ray Chamberlain, is saying that Octavio dropped that ball on purpose, and it's just an out.
I'm with you on that one.
And he's like, yep, I made the right call.
Well, most of our reviews have proven they have. Here's Octavio.
Well, it was already in the glove.
Oh,
You can't
absolutely.
do that. Yeah, now that we look at it. Good call.
Shenanigans.
Now, if you really wanted to try to turn a double play, you try to feel that on a short hop, now you're good. Or if you kind of have it just pop out, and you can, have a good acting job, but not like that where you squeeze it.
That's in the same spirit as the infield fly rule. The gears are turning for Gehrig.
I mean, it's tough to do, but if you can feel that on a short hop, you might have been able to turn 2 there.
Great job by our crew. Sean says to Icky in the bottom third of the order now, due up. 1 on, 1 out. Says Tuicki was 0 for 4 against North Greenville pitching in their first meeting. Again, because it is the 1 versus 8 matchup, this was your weekend clash. These were the first faces these two teams saw here in Cary, North Carolina. A 3-1 final that felt a little bit like a bigger win for North Greenville than the score reflected. They didn't actually find the insurance late in that game, but it seemed a pretty comfortable win for North Greenville. Reese Fields had the great start. Braden Fosnot got a quality start as well for the Golden Rams.
Greenville's played nightcaps every game they've played. The second game of the day each time.
Yeah, a big part of that's winning, because a lot of times our first games of the day early in a week are elimination games. (2-0) to Says Tuicki with Flaherty the base runner. 3-0. Keith Flaherty reached on the fielder's choice after Cantwell was, or pardon me, no, that is still Cantwell. Officially, it was a line out.
Yep.
So Cantwell down to second. And the walk to Says Tuicki.
It's missing away, and then down. A little bit high. Not missing by a lot on some of those, but that one wasn't close.
John DiMucci did not catch to begin the ball game this past weekend against North Greenville. We did see him later on come on for J.R. Gifford. Some chance of Mooch as he's introduced here to face Seth Chestnut. And Seth with the first pitch strike with 2 men on and 1 out.
The North Greenville starters have not given up an earned run so far. Reese Fields went 7 innings, no earned runs. Noah Takis, 5 innings, no runs. So we'll see what happens here with Seth Chestnut.
DiMucci, the 8-hole hitter. Some inquiring minds from Tigerville wondering where that pitch was. Again, DiMucci, part of the quartet of transfers from LaSalle. Two and 1. Sophomore out of Swarthmore, PA, facing Seth Chestnut, who's working his way through the Westchester lineup for the first time. 4 batters officially came to the plate in the first. Right now, DiMucci, the 4th batter here in the second. Both innings have begun with base hits for the Golden Rams. No runs yet to show for it. Three and 1.
It's been a patient team. And Chestnut in danger of back-to-back walks here.
Oh, and right now, home plate umpire Adam Berg is hearing it from the North Greenville dugout, led by their head coach. Of course, their head coach, a former pro catcher. Knows a thing or two about both working the strike zone and also chatting with our officials. There's the look right there.
Yeah. He's having some dialogue with the home plate umpire, Adam Berg.
I think officially it's a monologue.
Right. Coach Powell is great defensive catcher in the major leagues. Called pitches like probably no other catcher, especially with the A's with Dallas Braden throwing a perfect game.
Cantwell, your runner on second, has the attention of Chestnut for the moment. Says Tawicki, the runner on first. As you see, a former Golden Ram in his own right, Mike LaRosa, your head coach in his second year with this program.
Do they run here?
Payoff pitch with one out. This is out of play, foul.
They're not going. But after that throw by Jax Cash, I think it's in the back of the minds of the Golden Rams about trying to run.
Yeah, that's the kind of execution earlier in the game that affects the rest of the ball game.
Yep.
To the credit of Cash.
And that's a big part of the Golden Rams because they get pitchers distracted with their base running. They've done it throughout the season, but maybe not tonight.
Again, the 3-2 from Chestnut. This is playable in the infield.
Infield fly roll.
2 away. Runners have to hold. As Jordan Halliday, regardless of whether you caught it or not, does squeeze it in. But as you mentioned, Joe, infield fly in effect. And so can the number 9 hitter for the Golden Rams come through? They squandered multiple base runners in that first inning. They have 2 here in the second. Seth Chestnut looking to post another 0.
Miles was clutch earlier in this tournament. Remember, he had, I think, the only hit in that inning when they scored 5 with all the hit batsmen.
Miles was 0 for 3 against North Greenville.
I'm pretty sure he had a 2-run single that was the only knock in that 5-run 8th against Southern New Hampshire.
More batters than baseballs were hit that inning.
5 in 1 inning, something that we haven't seen before.
And Chestnut is 1 pitch away from getting out of the second inning. Cantwell on second, says Tawicki on first. But his focus on Zach Miles in an 0-2 hole. The 5th-year senior on the mound. And no favors there from Miles.
Tried to waste one away with a fastball. Try to get him to chase it anyway.
Miles, a sophomore who started off at Lehigh. Fifth batter this inning for Westchester.
Why do I think of Duke when you say Lehigh? I think it's because Duke lost to Lehigh, I believe, in the NCAA basketball tournament in the first round a few years back. Hate to say that, Duke fans.
Not sure we have a big contingency of Blue Devil fans.
We do here in
tuning into this broadcast.
We do here in the Raleigh-Durham area.
Chapel Hill's pretty darn close, as
Yes.
is the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. As a little warning to our pitcher, Seth Chestnut, on picking up the pace.
Huh. I can't blame him for being methodical, though. I mean, you got a key situation here with 2 on.
Miles at the plate. A 2-2 count pending with 2 Golden Rams on the base paths. Just got a piece of it with 2 outs to extend the second.
Your attention, please. Philip Berger, please come to the press box. Philip Berger, please come to the press box. Thank you.
Every Golden Ram and every player for NGU up on the edge of the dugouts into this one. 2 on, 2 out. Scoreless ball game in the bottom of the second. Will this stay playable in foul territory? It will not.
I'll tell you what, if Miles puts a charge into one to center or right, he's going to run for a while. They're not playing very deep in the outfield in center and right.
North Greenville stranded a pair in the top half of the second. We do it again. 2 on, 2 out. The 2-2. And Cash able to keep those runners right where they are, keeping that ball in front of them.
Good job to lay off there by Miles. That was a changeup. And when it comes in slow like that, I think it's hard to lay off of the pitch. You think it might be just a meatball that you can hit, but it was way out of the strike zone.
Runners will be moving. Miles out to center. Josh Center underneath it, and a big sigh of relief just south of the state border. Scoreless after 2. Number 1 seed working a shutout of their own with Chestnut on the mound today. They'll look to face Gabe Rappa for a 3rd straight inning, picking up their bats.
Alongside Lincoln Rose, I'm Joe Castellano. Delighted to have you with us. We'll have another champion coming up here this weekend in Cary, North Carolina. Who will it be? Well, only one team has won the title before, and that's Westchester. They're out in the field now. As leading it off is Corey Bivens for North Greenville. They have never won a title. 0-0 as we begin the 3rd. Gabe Rappa getting the start, dealing to Bivens, and that's a ball. He falls behind 2-0.
Of course, the reason why North Greenville wasn't here was Wingate was the team of destiny last year. Bulldogs met North Greenville in the regional last year.
Fly ball in the right center field. The center fielder gives way to the right fielder, Cantwell. He's got it for out number 1. Top of the order, Garrig Octavio, who flied to center his first trip. Well, Rappa has been a starter. He made his first relief appearance of the season earlier in this tournament, but this is his normal role as a starter. 6-2, 5.20 ERA coming in. Octavio, the leadoff man. And he bluffs a bunt, and the pitch comes right in on him. Gets out of the way, 1-0. Well, North Greenville held in check so far with only 1 base hit. It's a team that was hitting .338 in the first 2 games of this tournament. Bunted and fouled back. North Greenville has won 13 of its last 15 games. They came out of the Southeast Regional. Beat Columbus State 2 out of 3 games to get here in the Super Regional.
Exacting some revenge against the Cougars after they fell to the Cougars in the regional last year.
Octavio takes inside 2-1, and they have put together a great season. North Greenville 52-10. They were 25-5 in the Conference Carolinas play. Pitch to Octavio. Ooh, that just missed outside. Rappa wanted that call but didn't get it. Now it's 3-1.
Well, just like the first meeting between these two, close ball game early on.
Close pitch right there. 3-1 to Octavio. Liner to center field. Wright coming in. Slides. He's got it. Zach Wright. Nice play for out number 2.
And again, in the outfield, this is just the standard of play we've come to expect this week. Incredible.
Well, Wright, who in the regional, the Atlantic Regional, made a great catch against Slippery Rock. A first inning catch where he robbed a home run. This time he's coming in and goes into that slide to make the grab. We've seen a lot of good defense today. Ethan Stringer takes that pitch for a ball, 1-0. He's 0 for 1, grounded to short. 1 for 8 in the tournament, and the one hit was a home run. Hit his home run in the first inning in the last game for North Greenville as he takes another pitch to get ahead 2-0.
Again, our game earlier today, we had 3 different catches made with outfielders crashing into the wall.
Yeah, they were all impressive. And some of the infielders made good plays. The shortstop, Sestawicki, playing Stringer to pull quite a bit. That's fouled back. I mean, it's interesting because the second baseman, Miles, he's playing him to pull a little bit, but he's not way over, like, straight up the middle. So there's a huge hole between Sestawicki, the shortstop, and the second baseman, Miles. I mean, that is a very large hole to aim for if you hit a ground ball. A lot of times you'll see they play the infield to pull, and you have the second baseman way over because they think the hitter can't hit it to the right side. In this case, they don't think he'll hit it from the second base bag all the way over to the left side. 3-1 to count to Stringer.
Yeah, it won't matter if they don't give Stringer anything to hit.
I mean, that's the thing. As a hitter, you're not really aiming the ball anyway when you're hitting it. You're just trying to hit and make contact. The 3-1. Ball 4. Second walk for Rappa comes with 2 down. And now John Michael Fail, who has been very difficult to get out. In fact, his out in the first inning was a line drive that was hit hard that was caught at second. He's 5 for 10 in this tournament, a home run and 3 RBIs.
Well, that home run we talk about for John Michael was against, of course, Westchester.
Yeah, first game. And that was less than 3 weeks after he had surgery on his knee for a torn meniscus. Takes outside 1-0. I mean, it's just remarkable that he's even here. We've been talking about that. And then his performance is even more remarkable when you consider that he tore up his knee running the bases.
He was in the 6 hole that day, has been in the 3 hole ever since.
It was the first inning of the first game in the conference tournament when he got hurt. So he'd been out until he came here and didn't look rusty at all. And on the year, hitting .421.
Landon Powell reminded us he didn't even start running until the day prior to the Westchester game.
And he hits a home run, his 16th of the year. Throw to first, back in, save, standing up is Stringer. And every time he hits the ball, I mean, it seems like it's got high velocity on it, high exit velocity. They're playing him to pull the same way in the infield. 2 down runner at first, 0-0 in the third. That's a called strike. That's interesting. They have the same scouting report on these 2 hitters in a row where Sestawicki is way over the shortstop side, way over to the left. Short lead at first for Stringer. The pitch. Fouled back. 0-2 to John Michael Fail. Rather, 2-2 to John Michael Fail. Apologies.
Mentioned Fail was last year's Conference Player of the Year, another first-team All-Conference season this year in the Conference Carolinas. Went on to be first-team All-Region as well.
Rappa, big leg kick and deals. Liner left field, base hit. Doesn't matter where you play him if he hits it like that. Stringer on his way to third. Here comes the throw from right, and it's cut off. Actually, throw from left fielder Kalick. First and third with 2 down.
Great bit of running there from Ethan Stringer. You don't often think of a ball shot into shallow left as one that you can take an extra 90 feet over to third on, but Stringer, full speed the whole way, had the green light. Now runners on the corners. And if it was anybody but John Michael Fail, I think you're considering maybe even taking second here during this next sequence.
How about the way he just reached out and just sort of slapped that in the left field? That wasn't one of the more comfortable swings that you'll take, but he still hit a liner.
We'll see if Fail tries to take 90 feet.
Kloop at the plate, takes high for a ball, 1-0. He's 0 for 1, fly to center. 0-0 here in the third. That was the second hit for North Greenville.
It's literally a coach whispering directly into Fail's ear, giving him some instructions.
Kloop, the cleanup hitter. They're trying to get him going. He's ahead 2-0. 1 for 8 in the tournament, 1 RBI. This is a guy who has been hitting close to 400 this year, 394 coming into the game. Rappa in a little bit of trouble here, but he has 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Went with the off-speed pitch there, and Kloop was out in front of it. 2-1.
Both teams have had multiple innings with a runner in scoring position. So far, I've not been able to bring them home.
The Crusaders left 2 men on base in the second inning. They got 2 right here. The 2-1, up and away, 3-1 to Kloop. Monteith on deck. So it's no picnic against either Kloop or Monteith. And a lot of hitters have power in this lineup, including Kloop. North Greenville has hit 4 home runs here in Cary. 3-1 is upstairs, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. 2 walks and a single doing that. All this coming with 2 down. And now Pat Monteith will come up, and we're going to see a conversation as John Fleming, the pitching coach, is going out to the mound to talk to Rappa. And they're starting to move around, getting into that bullpen for Westchester. They're going to pick up a baseball out there.
Yeah, remember the last out recorded this inning was when Zach Wright came sliding in feet first to make the catch in center field. At that time, it was 2 up, 2 down. But 2 walks and a single sandwiched in between have extended this third frame and has North Greenville poised to possibly strike first.
You don't hesitate to go to the bullpen when you're in a situation like this in an elimination game. Dylan Howenitz is throwing.
North Greenville's already seen Dylan, as he was
Howenitz, by the way.
He was the man who relieved Braden Fosnot.
But Rappa will try to go after Monteith first here. So bases loaded with 2 down, a key spot here in the 3rd inning. Pat Monteith, who walked in the second, one of the 3 walks that Rappa has issued. Man who has a home run here in Cary and 14 homers on the season. Got Stringer at 3rd, Fail at 2nd, Kloop at 1st, and 2 down. Rappa gets the sign from DiMucci and deals. High fly ball hit to center field and deep, spinning around right, at the track, at the wall. Grand slam! Pat Monteith scores 4 with 1 swing, his 15th home run of the season, his 2nd here in Cary. 4-0 North Greenville.
All of this with 2 outs. And that one right at our guy Mitchell out there in center. Wow.
He didn't waste any time. After the pitching coach visited, Monteith knew what he was looking for there, and he hammered it over the center field wall.
The exit velo off the bat of Monteith, 108 miles an hour, traveled a distance of 438 feet.
438 feet is the distance on that home run for Monteith. What a blast. Here's center. Center hits one out into left center field for right. Settles under it. And that does it for North Greenville in the 3rd. But they get the grand slam by Monteith as they took advantage of a couple of walks. They score 4 runs after they had 2 down and nobody on. What a swing right there. He knew it. 4-0 North Greenville as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Well, for the moment, Pat Monteith is the hero, and what a celebration it was after his grand slam just moments ago. Man, is he fired up.
Made the most of that final out of the inning. Of course, 1 pitch later, Golden Rams finally get the 3rd out, but too late.
Now the Golden Rams will have to come from behind. They've done it before in this tournament. Zach Wright at the top of the order, and an infield single back in the 1st inning. This is a team that just yesterday had a 6-run frame, so they're capable of putting together some runs, a crooked number up there. Called strike, 0-1. Wright, Horn, and Kalick up against Chestnut, who feels a lot more comfortable with a 4-0 lead. Breaking ball in there for a strike, 0-2.
Yeah, you just hope that helps your starting pitcher who's been in a tight ball game with little margin for error all of a sudden to relax a little, settle in, and trust his stuff.
Well, you could see how with Rappa, I mean, things were going pretty well, and then all of a sudden you walk a couple of batters, and that kills you. It's fouled back.
Two out walks.
Yeah, and a single mixed in there, but the walks, you're just giving free passes. We know that most of the time those guys seem to come around and score. 0-2 to Zach Wright. The pitch. Ooh, that just missed. That was very close to take. 1-2 to Wright.
Down to our last 4 teams here. North Greenville right now is sitting in the best position. Still unbeaten.
1-2 pitch. Struck him out. Called strike 3. So that is out number 1, second K for Chestnut. That'll bring up Justin Horn, the DH. 1 for 1, a single. 5 for 11 in this tournament. Been swinging it well lately. Hit a home run yesterday. Has 5 RBIs, 3 walks. He's put together a good tournament. Chestnut deals. A little bit low, 1-0.
That guy next to him, Jack Cash, though, got the last laugh.
Tried to steal third in the first inning. Yeah, it was thrown out. Questionable idea. He hits one in the air to deep left field. Stringer going back at the warning track, and he's got it. Just got under it enough where it didn't carry out of here.
Yeah, it's a head scratcher.
Well, remember Horn, the home run he hit the other day, that was his first of the season. He's not a big power hitter. Did not quite catch all of the sweet spot on that one. So 2 down, nobody on for Joe Kalick. Kalick tried to bunt the runners over, but was unsuccessful back in the first inning. Now he takes a strike, 0-1.
Well, that's because of the great play from Seth Chestnut, who fielded that bunt and had time to narrowly get the out at third.
Kalick takes outside corner, called strike, 0-2. Kalick, a good story. I mean, he was a walk-on. Coach LaRosa even wondered if he'd be able to make the team. Told him it's going to be tough. Not only did he make the team, he's the number 3 batter in the order, playing in left field. 0-2 to Kalick. Fouled out of play on the right side. It remains 0-2. One of those great stories that you hear about. Guy making the team as a walk-on. 2 down, nobody on for Kalick. Chestnut looking for his 3rd strikeout and trying to get a 1-2-3 inning. Time called.
Yeah, fewest batters Chestnut has faced so far was 5. Both in the first and, rather in the second inning faced 5. Wound up just 4 in the first, but what a response this would be.
Takes the pitch high, 1-2. North Greenville, I mean, we've talked about their offense because they scored a bunch of runs in the last game with that 18-3 win. But how about their pitching so far has been good. Chestnut has been dealing as he tries to get through the third here. 1-2 to Kalick. Low, 2-2. In fact, you look at it, they've gone 20 2/3 innings with their pitching staff and given up just 3 earned runs. Chestnut, the 2-2 to Kalick, is on the way. Down and away with an off-speed pitch. 3-2 now. Mike Ferrara waiting on deck. He's somebody who has power as the cleanup hitter. You don't want to walk Kalick here. 3-2 pitch on the way. Grounded up the middle. Octavio, the second baseman. Quick release to first. And they got him as it's dug out of there by Holiday, the first baseman. Nice play by the first baseman. 1-2-3 inning for Chestnut. We've played 3 in Cary, North Carolina. 4-0 North Greenville over Westchester. The NCAA Division II Baseball Championship has been held here in Cary, North Carolina, all but 2 years since 2009. There was 1 year where it was in Grand Prairie, Texas, another year where we had COVID and it was canceled. But here we are again, and it's 4-0 North Greenville as they bat here in the 4th inning. Jordan Holiday checks his swing but takes a ball 1-0 as they lead Westchester, team that is facing elimination. Bottom 3 in the order here. Facing Gabe Rappa, who gave up a grand slam in the last inning to Pat Monteith for all of the scoring in this game.
Think Westchester remembers that year it was in Texas?
They do, because they won it all in 2017. That was under head coach Jad Prakniak. Breaking ball in there for a called strike, 2-1. Coach LaRosa has taken over, Mike LaRosa, in his 2nd season and trying to win another title. They've won 2 before. They also won in 2012. That was a team that featured Joey Wendell. I remember seeing him here. Pitch low, 3-1. He was one of the top hitters that year, and he went on to play in the major leagues and now with the Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins, I should say. 3-1 to Holiday. High, ball 4, so he draws a leadoff walk, and that's 4 walks for Rappa. 2 of his walks cost him in the 3rd because those men were on base for that grand slam.
Yeah, those were both 2-out walks last inning, when ultimately 5 men came to the plate for North Greenville with 2 outs.
Now Jax Cash, who struck out in the 2nd. Number 8 hitter who's batting .341. That tells you about this lineup when you have a bunch of guys hitting over 300 even at the bottom of the order. Pretty deep. Holiday leading at first, being held by Ferrara. And Rappa deals outside, 1-0. North Greenville, the number 1 seed here. They've been ranked number 1 in the country as well. So clearly the favorites to win it all. Cash takes outside, 2-0. Cash, who is also a pitcher, so you think about the mindset that he has. He's a catcher and a pitcher and a batter, so he knows all about strategies that go on with a pitcher and a catcher and what kind of pitches that'll get thrown. He fouls it on the right side, 2-1. I wonder about that. Or do you overanalyze it? Whoa, I don't want to overanalyze that. Did you see that kid go over the fence?
Well, he's learned it from what he has witnessed here this week.
Oh, that was some athleticism.
Barriers are meant to be climbed.
We might need slow motion replay on that one.
Ask and you shall receive.
Wow. I mean, some kids will do anything to get a baseball, including this. Woo! Wow, he stuck the landing. I don't know if he gets a 10 on that landing. One of the judges might not like it. 3-1.
Your guy Sullivan, I think, was a favorite to get that ball.
Well, you do get free ice cream here if you return the ball, and that's the motivation. Cash has a left fielder, Kalick, who's playing pretty deep on him. The outfield shaded towards left. Infield playing him to pull a little bit. 3-1, high, ball 4. Back-to-back walks by Rappa to start the 4th. So he has now walked 4 in the last 2 innings and 5 in the game. And they do have Honitz throwing in the bullpen. So you wonder when they might go to him, because it looks like Rappa's having trouble throwing strikes. Now Corey Bivens, the number 9 hitter, fly to right his first trip. You might see him bunt here, the runners, to get them over into scoring position from the 9 hole. We'll see.
Great year for Corey. Defensively as shortstop, and he's been swinging a good bat as well.
He does square to bunt, bunts at third base side. That's where you want to bunt it. Fielded by Flaherty, throws to first, close play, safe! As pulled off the bag was Ferrara, According to first base umpire Scott Wyckoff, he was off the bag, and the bases are loaded with nobody out.
It's an infield single for Bivens, but Keith Flaherty, and let's see if they ask for a review.
Well, instead of being a base hit, it's an error because the throw pulled the first baseman, and I'll tell you what, that is really close. I wasn't sure that he pulled his foot. It's hard to hold your foot on there long enough. That's the question. His foot was on there, but the throw was wide enough, and that's why it is scored as an error right now for the moment. But did he keep his foot on there long enough to get the out call? According to Scott Wyckoff, he did not. He pulled that foot, and it wasn't on there long enough. I'm not sure.
Well, we anticipate Mike LaRosa is requesting a review. Officials are not yet looking at it.
Mike Ferrara stretching as far as he could go to get that wide throw.
So here's the problem.
That's a good angle.
You have to see conclusively that there's no daylight there. I don't know that we see an angle that absolutely proves. Well, that one might be about as good as you get.
Yeah, to me, he's on the bag when he caught it.
That one's too tough.
To me, he's on the bag when he caught it, and I would just go with that.
I think that angle is your best one.
Right, and he's out. Now, I agree with you, Lincoln. I don't know if that's enough to overturn it, but to me, he's just out. And it's tough, too, because when you're watching that live, like Scott Wyckoff, the first base umpire, I mean, he's got to make a split-second decision, and he decides that, hey, you weren't on that bag long enough. But when we're looking at it slower, it does seem to me like his foot's on the bag. I don't know if it's enough evidence.
Yeah, looking at it, I don't see anything clear enough for me to even say out loud what I think it's going to wind up being. I think it could land either way.
Well, it's got to be conclusive to overturn it. So it would have to be conclusive that he kept his foot on the bag to overturn it. To me, it was conclusive that it was on the bag initially. Was it there long enough? That I don't know if you could say conclusively. It's a time thing. You know what I'm saying?
What it sounds like is you're saying definitely maybe.
I mean, all you have to do is have your foot on the bag when you catch it. So, I mean, you could overturn this.
We're about to find out what they had to say. The burden is, they said the foot was off the bag live, which means they have to see video that absolutely says the foot stayed on the bag. And
he's out.
Did overturn it.
Yep. So conclusively, he did have his foot on the bag long enough, Mike Ferrara.
And Mr. Official Score, you can take the error away.
Yeah, his foot's on the bag right there.
Yeah. That was the one angle that was going to save it for Westchester.
So that is a sacrifice going 5-3. It got the runners up to second and third. One out.
I was going to have a problem with the error.
That could be a big call. Garrig Octavio comes up 0 for 2, fly to center twice. Last time that he flied to center, Zach Wright made a nice catch on him. Ground ball, second base. Infield playing back, so they're going to give up the run here. Play to first by Miles to Ferrara. On the play, Holiday scores the run. Runner moves up to third, Cash, and it is 5-0 North Greenville. So with the infield playing back, that was an easy run.
Yeah, there's no other play to be made there than simply securing the out. And you've got another runner now 90 feet away.
Coach LaRosa elected to play the infield back. He just didn't want to have a huge inning against him here. So willing to give up that one run, gets the second out. Now Ethan Stringer, who was grounded to short, walked and scored, and he takes in the dirt. No, it's at a strike at the knees, and it's called strike 0-1. 0-1 to Stringer. Only 3 hits for each team. That one's skied foul on the right side. 0-2. But the big difference, the one swing of the bat by Monteith, the grand slam that he had in the third inning. Oh and 2 to Stringer. Here's the pitch from Rappa, up and away. 1-2.
Already more runs than North Greenville had in their win against Westchester this weekend in their first meeting. But they would love to bring one more home with Cash over there on third.
Ground ball hit hard, base hit into left center. He beats the shift that the shortstop had. Cash scores from third. Stringer, RBI single, 6-0 North Greenville. And that's what happens. Sometimes you put on the shift a little bit. Sestawicki was playing way over in the hole, and that gave Stringer a lot of room to try to connect on a grounder with and use that to his advantage.
Just shot one right up the middle. The RBI for Stringer. And that is going to allow this inning to continue with 2 outs, and it's not going to get any easier to find that next out with the middle third of the lineup coming up, and possibly that will prompt a change.
It will, as Mike LaRosa is going to change pitchers here in the third inning. The walks were costly for Rappa. He walked a couple of batters in the third. They both scored. He walked a couple of batters here in the fourth. They both scored. And now we will see a relief pitcher out of the bullpen, and we'll tell you about Dylan Hohenitz when we come back in the fourth. 6-0 North Greenville. Right-hander Dylan Hohenitz comes out of the bullpen, the redshirt freshman out of Archbald, PA. Facing John Michael Fail here with 2 down and a runner on at first. There's a called strike, 0-1, as Gabe Rappa walked 5 3 2/3 innings. And 4 of those 5 walks ended up scoring. So here is Hohenitz, who is making his 3rd appearance here in Cary. 1-0 with a 0 ERA, and that pitch almost got away, but DiMucci stopped it.
John Michael almost moonwalked into that pitch.
1-1.
If he had a second good knee, he might have been hit by a pitch. But he was too slow backing into this one. Nope.
Man. 3 innings and no runs allowed for Hohenitz as he deals there 2-1. And he has walked 3, struck out 3 in his outings. So they're hoping that he can stop the bleeding here. Stringer at first with 2 down. John Michael Fail 1 for 2, a single, and he takes way outside, gets ahead 3-1. That's the last thing you want against John Michael Fail, is to give him this count. He is 6 for 11 in the tournament with a home run, but he's going to be looking to drive one here with a 3-1 count. Hohenitz deals, and it sinks low for ball 4. Another walk. 6 walks for the Westchester pitchers already in this game.
All 3 times Fail has come up, there have been 2 outs. He has been able to reach on a couple of occasions to extend the inning. Of course, that paid off in the 3rd.
Walks have been a problem for the Westchester pitchers. That's 23 walks in 4 games. So they're averaging about 6 walks a game, which is pretty bad. Here is Marek Kloop. He takes high for a ball, 1-0.
But they've probably also been the beneficiary of the most.
Let's see. They have walked,
Combine it with hit batters,
11 times, but they've been hit by pitches 9 times. The most of any team. That's ripped to left field. Coming in, Kalick can't get to it. Coming around third and heading home. And scoring is Stringer. Stopping at second is John Michael Fail. Kloop with an RBI single. It is 7-0 North Greenville.
Joe, we've already needed 1 home plate umpire replacement. We almost needed to replace another. Adam Berg almost just gets steamrolled by Stringer. He's rounding the bases so quickly. Easily scores standing up.
Had to get out of the way there. Flaherty had the relay. That's inside to Monteith, 1-0. He hit the grand slam his last time up. His 2nd homer here in Cary. He has 6 RBIs in the 3 games for North Greenville. Batting here with 2 men on the pond. And it's outside, 2-0.
3rd straight inning, Monteith has come to the plate.
It's a monster home run that he hit his last time for that grand slam. 438 feet to center field over our cameraman out there. 3-0.
Can you imagine if that was only 433 feet?
That was the swing for the grand slam.
We'd be down a teammate.
This was a little bit of the celebration. Just the beginning of it. 3-0, and it's way inside, ball 4. And the bases are loaded. That's 4 walks in this inning. And 7 walks in the game for Westchester pitchers. And here comes the pitching coach again, John Fleming. He can't be happy about what he's seeing.
Well, Johannes came in with 2 outs. He's faced 3. There are now 3 men on base.
9th man to come to the plate is Josh Center. He will come up. They have action again in the Westchester bullpen. So this is where sometimes the pitchers start to get a little fatigued. They've been working a lot. Johannes, I mentioned that this is his 3rd appearance. And there you see getting loose is Joe Messina in the bullpen for Westchester. But Johannes has been good for them. The walks have been a problem, though, for him because that's now 5 walks for him.
Just makes you appreciate even more what Rollins was able to do earlier today in their 3rd straight elimination game. Similar path as Westchester, who lose this weekend and have been fighting their way through the elimination bracket ever since. The difference is Rollins was ready to throw their All-American to be back tomorrow. Westchester already into their bullpen.
And now North Greenville has outscored its opponents 28-4 in 3 games. Here's Center with the bases loaded. He fouls it out of play on the right side, 0-1. He's got Fail at 3rd, Kloop at 2nd, and Monteith at 1st and 2 down. So this game has already been blown open, but it could get even worse for Westchester here with a big hit. Center 1 for 2, a single. Here's the pitch. Checks his swing. That's a called strike, 0-2. So North Greenville, they have 5 hits in the game. They have a couple of hits in this inning, but it's all the free passes that have really been killer. 4 walks in the inning. Johannes does get ahead of Center here, 0-2. The pitch. Ooh, he had to move out of the way of that one. Jackknifed a little bit. 1-2. Holiday on deck. He started this inning by walking. The 1-2 up and away, 2-2. Trying not to give him anything over the middle of the plate with the bases loaded here. Ready for the break-even pitch here to Josh Center. Fouled out of play on the right side. It remains 2-2.
And it just needs 1 pitch to go his way to strand 3 men from North Greenville after they've already plated 3 here in the 4th. North Greenville can break this game wide open.
The 2-2 hit in the air left field, playable for Kalick. That does it for the Crusaders in the 4th inning. They put up another 3 runs. They take advantage of the 4 walks. 2 of those men came in to score. Middle of the 4th inning, North Greenville 7, Westchester nothing. Bottom of the 4th inning we go, and Westchester has a large hill to climb, down 7-0. Mike Ferrara will lead it off for the Golden Rams.
If I need a 7-run comeback, I'm going to the guy with the most stickers on his helmet, and I think Mike Ferrara is in the running.
Well, he might want to wear body armor the way things have gone for him in this tournament, as he's been hit by 4 pitches. Fouls it back behind the plate, and that drops out of play into the seats.
Almost a great barehanded snag there. Now I'm guessing those are the Octavios.
They're going to have some ice cream.
Look like one T-shirt mentioned Hawaii.
0-1 to Ferrara. upstairs, 1-1. He'll be followed by Cantwell and Flaherty here in the 4th inning. Ferrara struck out his first trip. He cranks one deep down the left field line. If that stays fair, it's going to be gone. Fair ball, home run. Mike Ferrara, his 11th home run of the season, a solo shot, and the Golden Rams are on the board. It was only a matter of would it stay fair, and it did as it went right down the left field line.
Well, 1 run at a time. Westchester's on the board. They've matched their run total from the last time with North Greenville. A little more work to be done, but a nice start from Mike Ferrara.
His 2nd home run of this tournament. Here's Luke Cantwell, who singled his first trip, 1 for 1. And he had an excuse me swing right there, 0-1. Let's take a look at that home run. Oh, no, actually, let's take a look at that swing. And he did go around. Tried to hold up the best he could, but unsuccessful. There's a called strike, 0-2.
Here you go.
There's the home run. Man, he destroyed that pitch.
Off the pole.
I didn't see it hit the foul pole. Okay.
What do you think led to that ball
I did not see it at the foul
coming
pole.
into left field?
Well, I'm looking into the sunshine out there, and I did not see it
You thought
until that replay.
some rebellious youth threw it back in?
So foul pole home run. Some people like to call it the fair pole, but I don't.
But you understand their logic. If it hits it,
Yeah,
it's fair.
but I don't like it. It's a foul pole.
You're
Sorry.
a man of history and tradition.
Yes, when it comes to baseball. Luke Cantwell with a count of 2-2. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, 3-2.
Well, Seth Chestnut still has a bit of a lead to work with.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt you as much when you just give up a solo homer. Flaherty to follow Cantwell. Payoff pitch to Cantwell. Grounded, third base, fair. Juggled a little bit by Monteith. Throws to first. Got him. One away.
I think that ball starts to roll up Monteith's left arm. Still able to snag it, stay composed, and make the throw.
I think it's kind of tough at first base, too, for Holiday. Trying to catch that throw with the sun.
All right, so.
Oh, we're going back to the home run now? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we see the ball off the pole, but we certainly. There we go.
Did it hit the screen?
Did it hit the flagpoles? Yeah.
I think it hit the screen of the foul pole there.
Is that not part of the pole?
It is.
And if it hits it, what is it?
It is a home run. Swing and a miss. 0-1 to Flaherty. He lined to second his first time up.
That's fair. Our crew is on top of every little moment of this week with all these great defensive plays, little nuanced moments.
One ball, one strike to Flaherty. That's a little bit low, 2-1. Flaherty, who graduated actually last year, but decided to come back to play again for a 6th season. The captain of the team takes outside, 3-1.
Well, Seth Chestnut is being entrusted again with a lead similar to what we saw in our first game, where They may be inclined to leave him in there. I don't know about 150 pitches like we saw with Whitehead, but probably going to have an even longer leash in this game as long as you have a similar margin.
Yeah, because you want to save other pitchers for tomorrow and possibly Saturday. Now the 3-2 to Flaherty is on the way. Down and away, ball 4. So that's not what he was looking for with this big lead. Never want to walk anybody. That's his second walk. Chestnut has thrown 67 pitches so far as Sean Sestawicki comes up, walked in the second.
The shortstop, Sean.
Well, they'll play him to pull up the middle. The second baseman, Octavio, playing over towards second base. Short lead at first for Flaherty, being held over there by Holiday. High for a ball, 1-0. Sestawicki grounds one to third. This could be 2. Monteith to second, 1. Octavio to first. In time, 5-4-3. Inning-ending double play going around the horn off the bat of Sestawicki. 1 run on the home run by Ferrara, getting Westchester on the board, but they trail 7-1 as we go to the 5th. To the 5th inning we go, and it is a big lead for North Greenville, 7-1, as Joannitz will go into his second inning of relief here, and he'll be facing Holiday, Cash, and Bivens. They started the rally in the 4th inning when 3 runs came in. That was after the grand slam in the 3rd inning by Monteith got things going for North Greenville.
Yeah, it was a winning formula last inning, so they're going to do it again. After 9 men came up in the 4th, right back to the bottom 3rd to lead things off here in the 5th.
7 walks so far for the Westchester pitchers, who have given up 5 base hits. So Jordan Holiday, he walked and scored in the 4th. Also has struck out. Joannitz steals, and it's in there for a called strike, 0-1. Well, we know for sure that Point Loma will play Rollins tomorrow in a rematch of a game we saw earlier today that Rollins won big, 12-4.
That's the only thing we know.
We know that whoever wins that game goes into the championship against one of these 2 teams. And if North Greenville hangs on to win this game, they will be waiting in the wings to play for the title. Now, because of the weather, that could happen tomorrow night or it could happen Saturday.
Yeah, we could accidentally have a national champion crown tomorrow night.
Yeah, there's bad weather in the forecast for Saturday that the NCAA is trying to stay away from. There's a shot into center field, but right. Going back seems to have... No, he didn't have a line on it. It carried over his head. All the way to the wall, getting to second base and holding up his Holiday. Wow, he didn't even seem to get all of his body into that one, but it just kept on going.
Yeah, I think at the end there, he's just trying to sell the runner. Although not much to be gained by it. As if you're the batter, you're going to be going full speed regardless.
It looked like Wright had it lined up there. And then it just zoomed over him and bounced to hit the wall. Now we're going to see a pinch hitter for Jax Cash, I believe.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Actually, Jax Cash is coming up. I think we have a pinch runner for Holiday is what it is. Zach Zara is pinch running at second base.
He'll likely stay in and play at first.
Right. So Zara running at second. Cash is coming up. 0 for 1, a strikeout, a walk, and a run scored. But we're going to see another trip out there for Coach Mike LaRosa. He has some action in his bullpen. He's had Messina throwing. We'll see if he goes to another pitcher. He will. So we'll step aside. The 3rd pitcher of the game for Westchester is coming in. here in the 5th inning, 7-1 North Greenville. Joe Messina will be the third pitcher against North Greenville today for the Golden Rams after Dylan Howanitz went just a third of an inning, walked 2, allowed 2 hits. And now Messina comes in here to face Jax Cash. So we get to see the right-hander Messina, who is a transfer from LaSalle.
Joe spent his 21st birthday here in Cary, North Carolina a couple days ago.
Sophomore from Philadelphia.
Again, he inherits the pinch runner Zara.
It's his first appearance here in Cary this year. Cena 3-0, 5.19 ERA. 26 innings of work this year. 16 walks, 21 strikeouts. And now Cash, who's 0 for 1 with a walk up there with a runner at second. Zara, the pinch runner, after the double by Holiday. And a bluff to second.
Again, Westchester wants to not just beat North Greenville here today, but they'd have to turn right back around and do it again tomorrow. Rollins has completed half of that equation with Point Loma.
Well, Rollins, as you mentioned, had a great pitcher on the mound in Whitehead who got the job done. And today, it has not worked out that well for Westchester. Rappa giving up 7 runs, 3 2/3 innings. Howanitz had issues with some walks. So pitching is always going to be at the forefront. 2-0.
If North Greenville wins this game, everything today went their way. Not only did they remain unbeaten, but they are now the only unbeaten, which means they would only need to win 1 game the rest of the week to be national champion.
Yeah, because those other teams are facing elimination. Fouled out of play. 2-1. Yeah, it's tougher when the team comes out of the other bracket and they're undefeated. Then you got to beat them twice.
A true double elimination tournament.
2-1 here to Jax Cash, the catcher for North Greenville. Messina deals. Bunt, third base side. That's a beauty. Flaherty tries to make the play, but it's way too late. Bunt single for Cash. His first hit. He points at the dugout. Maybe they were telling him you should bunt.
Great bunt for a base hit for Jax. And opts to slide through the bag at first. I don't know if the science is on your side for that, but it certainly reinforces a mentality. Full speed.
How many catchers run like that? So Cash on at first. Zara going to third on the play. Nobody out. And Corey Bivens, the number 9 man, who has a sac bunt, and he's flying to right 0 for 1. 7th hit for North Greenville. First pitch, Bivens takes a nice block by the catcher, DiMucci. Had to go out to his right quickly. Pretty far to his right to block that and save a run. There's that sun coming in. Can be tough on the first baseman, but I think it's starting to get a little better over there. Pop fly, and the first baseman, Ferrara, gives a look, but it goes out of play.
Yeah, luckily our camera guy's not trying to hold a base runner on.
Yeah, there's quite a glare coming from left field over towards first base side when that sun is setting over there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bivens takes high for a ball, 2-1. Garrick Octavio on deck. There's a strike. 2-2 the count. I think in that first game that these two teams played against each other, North Greenville felt like they should have been scoring a lot more runs and didn't come through. And this time, they are coming through in the clutch. The 2-2 popped up. Second base side for Miles. This will not score a run as Miles makes the catch. 1 away. And now the top of the order in Octavio.
Well, what you just said, that was certainly the impression from the first two times these teams met, right? The final score was 3-1, but North Greenville probably had some chances to add on to it, while Westchester didn't seem to really threaten near the end. Although we've seen some teams in that storyline all of a sudden see a lead disappear, wish they had found insurance. As back to Gary Octavio at the plate.
Brent Herlong saved that game, that first game. You know, it doesn't seem like to me, just top of my head, that we've had a lot of save situations for closers. We've had a lot of games lately that have been completely out of reach.
Oh, we've had a couple closers come in the 8th inning where it was a 3-run lead, and all of a sudden they're winning by about 7 runs because the late addition, most notably Point Loma.
Some big innings. Octavio swings and fouls it back, 1-1. He is 0 for 3. This is his 4th at-bat already in this game, and we're in the 5th inning. He's flied to center twice. Nice catch on him in center by right. He's also grounded out and brought home a run. He's driven in 4 in this tournament from the leadoff spot. 3 for 10 in Cary. Messina deals. Hit in the air to left field. We'll see if this scores the run. Kalick lining it up. Makes the catch. Tagging at third is Zara. Here comes the throw to the plate. Offline. Zara scores, and it's 8-1. North Greenville. On the play, staying at first is Cash. So sac fly for Octavio, give him another RBI, his 2nd of the game, and his 5th of the tournament. 2 down for Ethan Stringer. So North Greenville, after being held scoreless the first 2 innings, scored 4, 3, and 1. Stringer 1 for 2, the RBI single. Runner goes Cash, throws down to second from DiMucci, and he got him. Good tag applied by Miles, and the inning is over as Cash is caught for the first time this season in 8 attempts. Middle of the 5th inning, 8-1, North Greenville leading Westchester. Eight to 1 in favor of North Greenville as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. And Seth Chestnut leaves the game after 4 innings, so he will not get the win, but he did give a great effort, gave up just 1 run, 4 hits. The 1 run came on a home run. Walked 2, struck out 2, and now Thomas Skipper comes out of the bullpen, the freshman from Marion, South Carolina.
For Skipper, his 17th appearance this year. A little under 28 innings of work, 23 strikeouts to show for it, a 4.55 ERA, and opposing hitters batting .274.
Went 1 2/3 scoreless innings, no hits allowed, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts in his previous appearance out there in the Division II championship. And he will face DiMucci, Miles, and Wright as Westchester feeling like there are a lot of innings left to try to come back from down 7 runs. So Westchester trying to survive after losing their first game to Greenville, going in the loser's bracket, but winning Tuesday, winning Wednesday against Southern New Hampshire and Angelo State, and trying to win again today.
Joe, there is one holdover for Westchester from both of those national championships, and that's their bat boy Tommy, who we saw there with that look in the dugout for Westchester. Made that trek all the way to Texas to watch the Golden Rams get their 2nd. There's Tommy. We've seen him out there with as good a speed as anybody. Back is the ball boy with the Golden Rams.
891 hitters for the Golden Rams here in the bottom of the 5th, leading off the catcher, John DiMucci.
Great to see him back. John DiMucci will lead it off. He popped up to first his first trip. Westchester catcher. Sophomore scoring around the bunt just to take a look at a pitch, 1-0. Golden Rams 4 hits so far. Looking for base runners. Skipper deals high, 2-0. Lights are on here at Coleman Field.
Yeah, with the exception of a little sliver in center field near the wall, pretty much everybody out of the sun now.
It's Been a warm day. We've been so fortunate to avoid rain. Ground ball right side, base hit into right field. So DiMucci with a leadoff single, trying to give some life to this Golden Rams offense as Zach Miles will come up. Sometimes that's all it takes is, one or two guys to get things going.
But understand Westchester through 5 innings, 4 of their 5 leadoff hitters, and Tommy's reminding them of this, 4 of their 5 leadoff hitters have reached base. The only time they brought a guy home was, the home run from Ferrara that led off last inning. Have not been able to consistently bring men around.
There's a strike at the knees, 0-1 to Miles. But sometimes you can go back and lament what happened in the first inning because the first 2 batters reached on singles, Wright and Horn. And they tried to bunt, and it was a good play by Chestnut to get the force at third. And then it was Horn trying to steal third, and he was thrown out to end the inning. So, that was kind of rough right there where you didn't get a clutch hit. The bunt wasn't perfect enough. You're trying to steal third, and that's the third out. And all that stuff happened in the first inning. And that's kind of heartbreaking, I think, if you're looking at this ball game as a whole.
Well, North Greenville had a lot more flexibility coming into this game than Westchester by virtue of the 0 in the loss column.
When you're playing such good teams, the margin for error is slim. Double play ball, Ottavio to second, 1. Bimmons to first, not in time, as Miles was running quickly, and he didn't hit it that hard. So they don't turn the double play, but a 4-6 put out, 1 out. Now Zach Wright will come up. 1 for 2, a single. But yeah, you're playing these really good teams, and the margin for error, getting thrown out or not getting the bunt down the right way you want to. All of those things show up a little more. By the way, that you saw in that picture, that is Zach Zara at first, taking over for Holiday, playing first base after he came in as a pinch runner. Wright, the leadoff hitter. Squares to bunt, takes it low and away. Maybe that's part of the strategy here. Just take a look at a pitch with a square around to bunt. You wouldn't think you'd be bunting that often when you're down by 7 runs. We have seen teams kind of ignore the scoreboard a little bit. Angelo State did that where they were just playing their game no matter what the score was. They weren't going to stop stealing or bunting. Square to bunt, pulled back, ball 2-0, and that's working so far for Wright.
Yeah, if Zach bunts, it is not going to be just to give himself up. He'll be looking to beat out a throw.
Well, the third baseman, Monteith, he has not let that affect him. He's still playing back at third, so if Wright can get a bunt down, he might be able to get a base hit. He has blazing speed. Squares around, pulls it back, and Monteith was charging. That's a called strike. Monteith knows that, he can play back a little, but if he starts to charge in, because it's an early square around from Wright, Monteith feels like he can make a play. This might not be at all Wright thinking about bunting. He just wanted to take some pitches that way. It might be.
Well, and again, it's a good way to put the bat in front of the catcher, maybe let a ball slip by.
Base hit into right field, almost hit the base runner there. Stopping at second is Miles, who avoided that ball. And it's 2 on with 1 out as Wright gets his second hit of the game, 2 for 3.
Yeah, the biggest thing standing in the way of Zach Wright of getting a single there is whether that ball hits his own teammate. Miles, mindful of the scenario, able to avoid it here.
Funny thing, it's so quirky about the scoring. If it did hit him, he would have been awarded a hit, but there would be an out for the base runner. But you get a base hit, which is kind of a strange ordeal. Here's Justin Horn, 1 for 2 single. In any case, you got 2 on here. And all of a sudden, maybe things are cooking here for the Golden Rams. Horn fly deep to left his last time. He hit a home run yesterday. This is his first home run of the season. 1-0. He has driven in 5 here in Cary. Golden Rams down by 7, just looking for base runners. Skipper looks over at second. And the 1-0. Hit in the air left center field. This could be extra bases. It is going to drop. Cut off out there by center. Holding it first is the hitter Horn. Scoring is Miles. Stopping at third is Wright. An RBI single, as it turns out, for Horn. 8-2 North Greenville.
Well, Zach Wright is almost fast enough to score from first on that, but the right decision to hold him up. But he was starting to catch up with Zach Miles, who does score easily.
When he hit that in the gap area, I thought easy double, but it was cut off out there by center pretty quickly. So Horn 2 for 3, and things are starting to cook here. 3 hits in this inning. Runners at the corners, 1 out. Here's Joe Kalick, the number 3 hitter, 0 for 2. Tried to bunt and did not get the bunt down for a sacrifice in the first and grounded to second. The pitch from Skipper in there for a call and strike, 0-1. North Greenville getting some action in their bullpen. See that ball getting cut off quickly on that base hit by Horn that holds him to a single. 0-1 to Kalick. North Greenville looking to turn 2. A little sidearm delivery there, and it misses low for a ball, 1-1. On deck is Mike Ferrara, who hit a home run his last time up. Kalick gets on. It could start to get interesting in this inning. Breaking ball in the dirt, 2-1.
You mentioned Ferrara there on deck with the home run last inning. Promising inning for Westchester here.
The pitch to Kalick. Popped up, foul behind the plate. Cash giving chase. Does he have room? Oh, I think that's going to be a catch. Yes, it is.
Wow.
He caught it, and it did not hit off the screen first, which would not be a catch. Runner goes back to third, and he caught that just before it was about to hit the screen. 2 down.
Well, that won't tell you otherwise, as fortunately that ball just never drifted into the net.
Nice play by Jax Cash.
I want to point out that's where all of North Greenville is seated. So they are willing to bear witness that it didn't hit the net right in front of them.
But Coach LaRosa is having a conversation with the home plate umpire, Adam Berg.
Who was right there. And so they may be sorting through whether this is reviewable.
Right. Because that was close to hitting the screen first.
I imagine he has a list of all the reviewable plays, and that may not be one of them. Of whether or not a ball.
Well, I think he just did catch it at the right moment.
Well, yeah, and that has less to do with the catch, but just good fortune that that ball did not somehow drift into a loose net that could have blown one way or another.
Right. Here's Mike Ferrara, 1 for 2, a home run. If he does that again here, this could be a lot closer. Trying to pull them within 3. There's a called strike on a breaking ball, 0-1.
But you got more than a couple dozen witnesses right there who were verbally attesting to the fact that it did not go into the net. And who are we to question?
Ferrara hit his home run off the foul pole in the 4th inning. His 2nd home run of this tournament. Just kept it fair. It's way outside, 1-1. A run in here in the bottom of the 5th. 3 base hits. Westchester down by 6, but they have 2 on here. As Ferrara tries to come through. They play him to pull in the infield. They're staying away with the pitches. 2-1. The second baseman, Octavio, is playing straight up the middle, standing a little bit on the outfield grass. So there's a huge hole in the right side of the infield, with the first baseman, Zara, holding the runner, Horn. Just a ton of room over there. Hit in the air, left center field. That's hit pretty well. Center going back with the left fielder, Stringer. and he does not come up with it. A run comes in to score from third right. Horn made it around the bases. He scores, and stopping at second is Mike Ferrara with a 2-run double. 8-4 now, North Greenville.
Yeah, just unable to secure that ball, and then it starts to roll away from you. A couple men come home, now 3 this inning.
Right fielder Luke Cantwell.
As Ferrara goes down to get that with his bat. And after the catch can't be made, then it goes off the shoe.
Off the edge of the glove of Stringer. He almost had it. He was running hard there. Instead, Ferrara now has 3 RBIs in the game, and it's a 4-run lead for North Greenville. And here's Luke Cantwell. He can cut it to a 3-run deficit with a base hit, possibly. There's a called strike. 0-1. Ferrara runs well as he's at second. Man, he's come up big in his last 2 at-bats. Ferrara has.
Well, a game of inches. We've seen it go both ways on the last 2 batters. That foul ball that just stays playable, and a great effort from Jax Cash to track it down. Conversely, the other way, just off the end of a glove.
Ground ball right at the shortstop. Gobbled up by Bivens, and that retires the side. But Westchester with a little life. They scored 3 in the 5th inning. A big 2-run double by Ferrara with 2 down. The end of 5, 8-4, North Greenville on top. That's Timmy Hogue right there, we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I think I even said Tommy, but no, Timmy, his 3rd championship week. He was there in 12. We saw him in 17 in Texas.
Here again.
Reason for Timmy and the team to be optimistic.
Alongside Lincoln Rose, I'm Joe Castellano. After that 3-run inning for Westchester, I think they're optimistic, and I think that the Crusaders feel like we need to add some more runs as Ethan Stringer leads it off and gets ahead in the count 2-0. He is 1 for 2, RBI single, walk, 2 runs scored. They put up 4 with 1 swing in the 3rd inning on the grand slam by Monteith. So it was 4-0. It became 7-0 when they scored 3 in the 4th inning, taking advantage of walks. And then after Westchester scored a run in the bottom of the 4th, they added another run, North Greenville did, in the 5th. So they were up 8-1, but the 3 runs in the 5th for the Golden Rams give them a little hope. Stringer ahead 3-1. And he takes ball 4, so there's another walk. It's just killing Westchester. 8 walks in the game now for their pitchers. First for Messina.
Designated hitter, John Michael Fail.
Here's John Michael Fail. You never want to walk somebody in front of him. With his power, 16 homers. 1 for 2, a single, a walk. Keep in mind that the career of John Michael Fail has been great. Takes the ball 1-0. He's got 60 career homers at North Greenville. Stringer being held at first base. Fail pops it up foul and out of play behind the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike to John Michael Fail. We're in a twilight time right now where it's going to be tough to see some of those pop-ups for those outfielders and even infielders. Fail pops it up on the right side and out of play. 1-2 the count. Marek Kloop on deck to follow Fail.
That lead down to 4.
1-2 to Fail. Ground ball third base. Off the glove of the third baseman Flaherty. Recovers and throws him out at first base. It's a runner who's been coming back from knee surgery, so can't run all that well. Stringer goes to second on the play. 1 away.
Able to advance his teammate into scoring position. Nice job by Keith Flaherty. Not an easy ball, but stays with it. Doesn't have to rush the throw.
Here is Marek Kloop. 1 for 2 RBI single. That was in the 4th inning. Also has walked and scored. He pops it up foul out of play on the right side, 0-1. Kloop, the Conference Carolinas Player of the Year. Transferred from NC State here locally. So in a comfortable environment for him. Native of the Czech Republic. Messina deals, and it drills Kloop. So it'll be 2 on, yeah. So not only the 7 walks, now a hit batsman. I'm sorry, 8 walks, and now a hit batsman. And Pat Monteith comes up with 2 men on. It's already delivered a grand slam and walked twice. And Monteith has 6 RBIs in his last couple of games.
That grand slam right now, you argue the difference in this ball game with 2 outs.
So Stringer and Kloop on base with 1 out. Pitch. Breaking ball in there for a strike, 0-1. I'm going back on Monteith and seeing that he has reached in his last 7 plate appearances 5 walks and 2 homers. This guy's locked in, and he really knows the strike zone. There's a called strike, 0-2. So for the first time in 8 plate appearances, can he get retired?
Some of the folks in Tigerville refer to him as Patty Ice.
The 0-2 and a swing and a miss, strike 3. So finally somebody gets him out. It's Messina for his first strikeout, 2 down. Strikes out the grand slam man. He's using that breaking ball effectively during that at bat. And then blows it by him. So Messina, his fastball gets up in the upper 80s. It's a really good curveball changeup. Check swing, and it's fouled back by center. 0-1 the count. 8 runs, 7 hits, no errors for North Greenville. 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors for Westchester. Center is 3 for 10 in this tournament. Center fielder, his batting average is right about 300. Pitch. Just outside, 1-1 to center. It's actually right at 300 right now with his batting average. Both batters reaching on free passes, a walk and a hit batsman, and that's been the case. Just a ton of free passes here for the Westchester pitchers. Jumping out of the way, center, and he has a count of 2-1. I mean, when you put 9 men on with walks and a hit batsman, usually it's not going to work out too well.
Well, in Westchester, we've noted a few times, has been the beneficiary much this week of those free passes.
Now they're the ones doing it. Swing and a miss there makes it 2-2. But with all of that, if Messina can get center out here, Westchester has to feel like they have momentum if that exists within a game because they did score 3 their last time up there, and they're trying to make a comeback. Messina, the 2-2 to center. Bouncing ball foul on the third base side. It remains 2-2.
Yeah, I think a little bit of concern has crept in now for a team that had been up 8-1.
Yeah, I think what you realize when you want to win a national championship is that you have to be relentless with your offense because so many of these teams can come back on you. And Westchester has shown that in this tournament. They did it against Southern New Hampshire. Jumping out of the way, center, 3-2. And I think for Westchester, and they were kind of gifted that one, where they scored those 5 runs in the 8th against Southern New Hampshire. They had the 5 hit by pitches. But they came out yesterday and showed what they were made of with their lineup by winning 12-2 against Angelo State. So North Greenville knows they would like to get more. The runners are getting ready to go, but bluffing to second is Messina. They will run here on 3-2 with 2 down.
Well, Westchester's actually out-hit North Greenville now, 8-7. The difference, those free passes at the moment. And North Greenville able to take advantage of some 2-out opportunities.
Runners go, swing and a miss, strike 3 at a breaking ball. So Messina leaves 2 men on base, strikes out the last 2 batters of the inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Can Westchester continue its comeback? Down 4. That's a beautiful shot of the flags here at the USA Baseball Training Facility. And Westchester trying to keep that flag flying, facing elimination, trailing 8-4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th, but they are emboldened by the fact that they scored 3 in their last at-bats in the 5th.
Nobody's come close to tugging down that North Greenville flag, as they are the only team without a loss this week.
Thomas Skipper into his 2nd inning of relief and deals a called strike to Keith Flaherty, 0-1.
Point Loma finally suffered its first defeat earlier today against Rollins. Rollins has to be able to do it again tomorrow to keep Point Loma out of the final.
Flaherty takes 1-1. He is 0-for-1 with a walk, line to second. Mentioned earlier that playing in his 6th year, and you know that happens when you're a redshirt at one point. He was a redshirt freshman. He had a COVID year. 2-1, so you end up there for 6 seasons. But he did graduate, and there was a chance he wouldn't come back, but here he is. He really wanted to play in the Division II Baseball Championship. And he is the guy who keeps this team loose. So you wonder if he was able to keep them loose when they were down by 7. He skies one to straightaway center for center. And Josh has it for out number 1. Different spelling, S-E-N-T-E-R. Sorry. Now Sean Sestawicki. Try to spell that quickly. He's 0-for-1 with a walk. Bounced into a 5-4-3 inning-ending double play. And he skies one. Middle of the infield on the right side. It is Octavio to make the catch right in the middle of the dirt for out number 2.
Ideal start so far for Thomas Skipper, trusting this defense behind him. Getting closer to bringing those bats back to the plate for the number 1 seed.
Didn't have to work very hard with those first 2 batters, and now John DiMucci, 1-for-2, a single. Got things going in that 3-run 5th with his base hit that started the rally. Takes the ball 1-0. Trying to start a 2-out rally here against Thomas Skipper, the freshman. That's a strike on the inside part of the plate. 1-1.
North Greenville had scored their runs the last 3 innings before the top of the 6th. Finally another 0, whereas Westchester has scored all their runs the last 2 innings. We're hoping to take advantage of this opportunity to chop further into the deficit.
2-1 to DiMucci. Now I'm thinking a young pitcher like Skipper, he's going to learn a lot from Landon Powell, the head coach, who's been a major league catcher. The catchers learn a lot. The pitchers learn a lot.
Yeah.
Hitters, everybody. I mean, the guy played in the major leagues. Ground ball, third base side foul. And I'm thinking that this appearance at the Division II Championship is really going to help North Greenville. They've already had a good program, and they came close to coming here. But now that they're here and they're on the verge of getting to the championship, and if they win it all, I mean, that is really going to help Landon Powell in his recruiting. And as I said the other day, why wouldn't you want to play for him? You're going to learn so much from somebody with that kind of experience. Strike 3 called in the outside corner. 1-2-3 inning for Skipper. His first strikeout. We have played 6 in Cary, 8-4 North Greenville.
Four of those schools have already headed back towards campus for their summer break. Four still remain, including the number 1 seed from Tigerville, South Carolina, North Greenville, standing in their way. A rematch today with the 8 seed Westchester, a team they beat 3-1 this weekend, and a team that would like to make it a trilogy tomorrow. Along with Joe Castellano, Lincoln Rose with you as we saw Zara enter as a pinch runner early in this ball game. We've seen him throughout the week, a really great versatile athlete for any program. You have a guy like Zara and you feel like you have an extra 5 men on the bench who can play a variety of positions for you.
Yeah, it's very valuable for Landon Powell.
Zara came in back in the 5th, his first time to swing a bat in this ball game as he faces Joe Messina. As the 9th batter Messina has faced in relief now. On deck, Jax Cash, Corey Bivens in the hole. This is the bottom third of the order for North Greenville. They were kept off the board for the first time in a while. Last inning in the 6th. All 8 of their runs have come over the 3 frames prior to that. 4 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. Monteith's 2-out grand slam got it all started. And right now is your difference on the board, a margin of 4 in the walk to Zara.
9 walks now for the Westchester pitchers and a hit batsman.
It's the 3rd time in the last 4 innings the leadoff man for North Greenville has walked.
4 of the 9 walks have come around to score.
Here's Jax Cash, walked in the 4th, singled in the 5th. 1 for 2 today. First pitch he sees, left side. Kept in the infield, but no play to be had by the effort of Sestowicki. So after the leadoff walk, a single from Cash, his 2nd today. And there are 2 on for NGU.
Here they come again. And I would imagine that Bivens might square around the bunt. He bunted the runners over back in the 4th inning in this same exact situation.
Yeah, successful sacrifice back then. At the time, it was Halliday and Cash on the base paths, both of whom would go on to score. So again, the 9-hitter Bivens. 0 for 2 today, and that move to 2nd may be less about the runner on 2nd and more to see whether Bivens squares around.
Yeah, I fully expect him to do that.
Beautiful.
He should bunt towards 3rd.
Yeah, great scenic backdrop in Cary, North Carolina. Does put down the bunt over to the right side. Only throw to be had is to retire the batter. So sacrifice from Bivens. Moves Zara to 3rd and Cash to 2nd with just 1 out now.
Well, that works too because he deadened that ball, so it almost doesn't matter where you bunt it. When you bunt it that softly, you're going to get the job done.
And another look as Messina able to make the throw to secure the out. And before the next pitch is thrown to the top of the order, let's see if Joe Messina is still the man for the Golden Rams.
Well, Coach LaRosa has a left-hander throwing in the bullpen. That is Braden Fosnot, who started the first game of this tournament for Westchester. I'm sure they did not want to have to use him here tonight, but it's an elimination game, and they got to do everything they can. And this is key here to not give up any more runs because you can ill afford to do it down 4 already.
Great venue that has become synonymous with Division II baseball's best. Look in at the lefty. As Fosnot, already seen him earlier this week. And it looks like we may be about to see him again. So pitching change for Westchester. The 2-time national champions have been facing elimination this week and are going to give it their all in this game to see if they can't force a 3rd meeting this week with NGU. But right now, Messina will step out. We'll introduce you to the next arm for the purple and gold. Well, if you were to look to this Carolina sky, it looks a little biased, Joe. A little shade of purple blanketing us here in the town of Cary. The sun, though, today was shining brighter on NGU thus far. They are hoping as it sets, momentum changes. Braden Fosnot comes in. They are not interested in what has shrunk to a 4-run deficit to grow back to 5 or 6. As currently 2 men in scoring position.
Well, he's faced these hitters before as the starter in the first game that they played against each other on Sunday. Took the loss, went 6 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, walked 5, and struck out 4. They don't want any more walks. They've already had 9 of those.
The sacrifice bunt is the only out recorded this inning, a walk and a single. As Zara and Cash both in scoring position. Jax Cash occupying part of your screen right now on second. As Gary Octavio right now at the plate with the top of the order. Infield cheating ends. The absolute priority is to come home. No traditional double play available with first base unoccupied.
Strikeout situation for Fosnot. Really needs one here.
For Octavio, just a little bloop. You've got a gap in the shallow outfield. In an 0-2 hole. The outfield is also playing in.
And this is a pitcher with 125 strikeouts and 101 in a third inning, so he knows how to get Ks.
I mean, is there a chance, a ball to the outfield, and they think they can get Zara going home?
Yeah, they're playing real shallow, so they have a chance at it.
The 0-2. Got him. They go to Fosnot, and he secures the second out.
Big out, because now the infield can go back, and he just worked him above the hands there, and Octavio just couldn't catch up with it. 93 on the gun, by the way. We were told that Fosnot throws up to 92, so he beat that.
Look at the sequence.
It was all heat.
3 pitches. Got a piece of one of them. First pitch to Stringer off the mark. As you noted, that allows the infield to relax back to standard depth. Now they would simply try to get the out at first, and this reduces the chance of a big inning from NGU. Not out of the question if they can have another 2-out rally. That grand slam from Monteith with 2 outs. That got the scoring started back in the third.
Every pitch has been a fastball so far.
Not enough to just know what's coming.
Well, he's throwing hard, and they haven't seen anybody throwing this hard in this game.
Stringer was hitless against Fosnot and Joanich, the combo, their first meeting. DiMucci extends to make sure that ball stays within his grasp.
Might have saved the run right there.
So 2-hole hitter Ethan Stringer with 2 outs and 2 on. Out into foul territory, Ferrara trying to track it down. Backpedaling makes the catch. That is a huge out. Fosnot comes in, retires 2, and gets the Golden Rams back to the dugout without any damage done as North Greenville strands 2. Ferrara able to secure it and keep the hope going into the bottom of the 7th. In the sunsetting on the seasons of some pretty talented baseball teams. We saw one, Rollins, survive elimination earlier today. It'll be a completely unique script, but a similar path that Westchester's hoping for, as they do have the benefit of being the home team in this game, though if North Greenville wins, It'll all be for naught. Westchester moments ago able to maintain the deficit at just 4. As Thomas Skipper remains in this matchup in relief. Zach Miles today 0 for 2 with a run scored, reached on a fielder's choice back in the 5th inning. Has also flied out to center, but not as far as Pat Monteith did.
Skipper dips down every once in a while to go more 3/4 like he did right there. Got action in the North Greenville bullpen just in case.
Miles a 9-hitter, but 11 home runs coming into this week. The 1-2. Got him. Thomas Skipper had him fooled. Delivers on the inside edge. And Westchester with one fewer out to work with in a comeback effort. Another look at strike 3.
And went breaking ball and just snapped it off. It didn't hit the target, but it did hit the strike zone.
Great pitch. Here's Zach Wright. He can create chaos on the base paths. Has to get there first. He has singled twice today, scored once. Also seen his speed on display in center field, as he is 2 for 3 today. And Skipper came in the 5th inning. Seth Chestnut got the start, went 4. So Skipper at the moment would be your pitcher of record. Trying to claim that win for North Greenville. It would give Landon Powell win number 299 as a head coach. And they're going to buy a little time for Jax. As you know, you mentioned it wasn't to the target earlier on the strikeout. He made it feel like they're not on exactly the same page. And getting things crossed up doesn't affect anybody more than your catcher.
Getting back on the same page now. Yeah, that is crossed up right there.
We've already lost one umpire a couple days ago.
And I think that was the worst scenario where you're thinking breaking ball, but it's a fastball.
That was almost a catcher completely bailing out of the strike zone, and that ball, you could have understood if that made its way all the way back to the man calling the balls and strikes.
You'd rather it be the opposite way around. You don't want to get crossed up when he's throwing a fastball and you think it's a breaking ball.
The 2-1 to Zach Wright from Thomas Skipper.
There's a lot of signs to digest right there because you've got Cash. He's giving, signs where he's touching his helmet and his shoulder and chest protector all over the place there.
Left side, snagged by Bivens. Long throw across the diamond, could not scoop it, despite the best effort from Zara.
We'll see how that is scored. That was a low throw. Zara tried to dig it out of there. Could not save his shortstop, and that is going to be an E6.
They've seen so much good baseball in this ballpark. Official score does not ever see much need for leniency, and Timmy believing that Westchester has a chance to get into play tomorrow against North Greenville if they can keep this up. Instead of 2 outs, nobody on. Zach Wright is on the base paths. Will he start swiping some bases? Obviously, Jax Cash may have a little something to say with that and wants to make sure this is where he's on the same page with his pitcher.
It's a resilient Westchester team. I mean, they looked dead in the water against Southern New Hampshire when they were down 3-0, and they came back. And if they get going, watch out. And that would have been an out if it would have been dug out of there by Zara. Not the easiest play to make for a first baseman. Here comes Landon Powell.
After a conversation, now the top man in Tigerville makes his way out to the mound.
Looks like Brent Herlong is ready to go if needed. He already has a save here in Cary.
It was 8-1. But when Westchester put up those 3 runs a couple of innings ago, North Greenville will do everything they can to win here tonight against Westchester and not leave it up to a 3rd game tomorrow between these two. That'll do it for Skipper. Brent Herlong, your man on the mound, when you rejoin us here on NCAA.com. Under the lights here in the town of Cary, North Carolina. Beautiful conditions for baseball as Brent Herlong makes his way out. Try to dump some cold water on this thoughts of a comeback for Westchester.
Herlong got a save here in Cary. He's worked 2 scoreless innings without a hit allowed, no walks, 4 Ks. So he's been very effective in his one other appearance.
So he's got a base runner to deal with, a 4-run lead with 1 out, and now Justin Horn, who had an RBI single his last time up, 2 for 3 today with a run scored.
Herlong has been one of the best pitchers on the staff. This is his 30th appearance, 7-1 out of the pen, 1.98 ERA. All of his appearances, relief appearances. So he's just been great. He's only walked 5 and struck out 45 in 59 innings this season.
And these two teams met each other this weekend. Very first opponent in Cary, North Carolina. A 3-1 final for North Greenville. It's been a slightly easier path to this rematch for the #1 seed as they took care of business, beating Westchester and Angelo State. Westchester more recently had to knock off both Southern New Hampshire and Angelo State, handing the Rams their final loss yesterday. As Horn takes that one inside, 2-1.
You saw one of the different arm angles that Herlong will bring to the table. Throws a cutter and a slider, and the grad student has an ERA of around 2 in his career.
And Zach Wright still on first after reaching on the error with 1 out. 3-1.
His fastball, he doesn't throw all that hard. Only in the low 80s, like 83 miles an hour. So he's all about movement.
Full count. Third pitcher used today for Landon Powell, as all their goals are still available to them here this week, including the biggest one.
Oh,
back-to-back strikes. The last one, a called strike 3 on Justin Horn.
wow. I mean, on the one hand, I don't blame Horn for taking this pitch because it looks like it's inside and high. But with 2 strikes, you got to protect the plate. That's too close to take, and he's stunned that it's called a strike by Adam Berg, the home plate umpire. So are the members of that team.
So Joe Kalek comes up. Zach Wright is still stuck on first base, now with 2 away. Sophomore Kalek today 0 for 3. Including that catch at the mesh by Jax Cash. Left side, Monteith across the diamond. Herlong comes in, takes care of business. NGU still in the driver's seat, up by 4, looking for more. Eight to 4. Moving on to the 8th inning. As John Michael fails, the next man up to face Braden Fosnot. And Braden got the start against North Greenville earlier this week. That's when John Michael Fail had his big moment and his comeback, that solo shot with 2 outs in the second inning back on Sunday. 24 hours after he had just resumed running for the first time, coming back from knee surgery. So Fail, Kloop, and Monteith. That's a slightly daunting trio due up this inning.
Yeah, it's tough to navigate through that part of the lineup for Fosnot.
Fosnot, the 4th pitcher used today, and this, again, 3rd elimination game for Westchester. They were sent on the tougher course by virtue of North Greenville handing them that 3-1 opening loss on Sunday. Fail today, a single, a walk. Been retired twice, 1 for 3. Got him. Fail with a little gift for Fosnot there, helping him out. 1-1.
Fosnot's doing a great job so far. He's throwing heaters left and right, and he has struck out 2 of his first 3 batters.
That'll bring up Merrick Kloop. Hit by pitch his last time up. 2 free passes today to go with an RBI single. 1 for 2 with a run scored. Couple of scoreless innings here in Cary. NGU struck first in the 3rd inning with 2 outs. Monteith with the grand slam. They would add 3 more runs the next inning and an 8th run when they scored for a 3rd straight frame. Westchester was able to answer with 4 runs during that time period. Both coaches now leaning on some reliable arms from throughout the season to try to keep the opponent's offense at bay. The 2-1 to Kloop.
Feels like Messina and Fosnot have really been under pressure. I mean, everybody has pressure when you're in an elimination game, but they're really under pressure to keep it at the 8 runs, and so far they've done a good job.
Both teams 8 hits. North Greenville has stranded 9. As Kloop down on strikes, Fosnot has fanned the first 2 men.
Boy, he is starting to mix up his pitches now a little bit more. He's throwing fastballs when he first came in. That looked like the changeup there that he got Kloop on as he had him off balance. Yeah, look at Kloop. He's out in front of that.
Here's Pat Monteith. Already a big moment when he took advantage with 2 outs and bases loaded in the 3rd. Has walked twice today, more recently struck out in the 6th. Southpaw Fosnot. Count 1-2.
438-foot grand slam in the 3rd. The difference in this game. And that was just a monster shot.
Struck out the side. Braden Fosnot keeping the Golden Rams in this one and keeping their hope in 2022 alive of staying in that chase for a 3rd national title. 3 up, 3 down. Westchester back at the plate for the home half of the 8th. On to the 8th inning in the home half. Westchester down to their final 6 outs perhaps in 2022. Furlong back for another inning of work in relief. And he hits Mike Ferrara.
Mr. Hit by Pitch.
He has homered and doubled today, but yes.
That's his 5th of the tournament.
Been a magnet this week.
And it's the 8th inning. It's time for hit by pitches for Westchester. It's the inning when they had 5 of them against Southern New Hampshire. He didn't even try to get out of the way.
A little padding on the elbow. Here's Luke Cantwell. And the Golden Rams do some heavy lifting here in the 8th inning. Slow roller charging up. Monteith still had enough on that arm for the out. Boy, that was not an easy play for Pat Monteith. That ball started to die down and drift to his left. But still, that right arm of his secures an out as Ferrara moves down to second.
Yeah, he's got one of the best arms we've seen on the left side of the infield. I mean, Monteith gets over there, and he can really rely on this. He just fires it over there to get Cantwell.
You saw Cantwell, rather than try to take an extra stride, was mindful he had to get to that bag with that left foot. Here's Keith Flaherty with 1 on and 1 out. Flied out to center to lead off the 6th inning, his last time up. He is 0 for 2 with a walk. Keith is the man who lined out to Octavio over there at second when Gehrig and his gears started turning on how to maybe get an extra out of the play.
Yeah, try to drop a ball on purpose.
Ferrari, your runner, there on second after being hit by pitch on that left elbow. 1 on, 1 out. As we're into the bottom half of the order for the Golden Rams.
I'm going to start believing that those Golden Rams stickers on his helmet are for hit by pitches instead of other accolades.
Maybe they're just coming up some cracks in the helmet.
Man.
The 2-1 from Herlong. Not tempting for Flaherty. And Herlong out of Lakeview, South Carolina. One of these 5th-year seniors. North Greenville had the benefit of coming into this game knowing that this was not their final day of baseball. And a second free pass this inning, a hit batter, and now a walk.
Oh, boy. It's the 8th inning, and it's Westchester.
This has been the inning. This is what the Golden Rams were waiting for, just as long as they're guaranteed an 8th inning.
They get one more base runner, and the potential tying run comes to the plate.
Here's Sean Sestawicki. Sestawicki with a walk in the 2nd, hit into a double play in the 4th, popped down in the 6th. 0 for 2 today as he faces Herlong. Seth Chestnut got the start, went 4. Thomas Skipper relieved him, and now on to Brent Herlong. Runner on second, Ferrara. Flaherty behind him on first. Could not lay off it. By the way, right now the Westchester fan base has swollen a bit. They have grown with chapters both in San Diego as well as in Winter Park, Florida. As both those teams are hoping that nobody is unblemished entering those final days of baseball. Chance for 2, and very fortunate that ball hits the batter, but it's going to cost a runner. Ferrara still comes home.
So Sestawicki will hang on there at first base. But, yeah, that run comes in because of the error from the second baseman. I thought the throw was from Octavio.
Oh, you are correct. I heard E6, but it is
E4.
Obviously on the second baseman there. They get the out at second. And honestly, credit to Flaherty there on that slide into second, not making it an easy turn and fire.
Second error today for North Greenville.
Pinch hitter for Westchester is going to be Corey Stauffer, fifth-year senior in his own right. As Stauffer tries to extend this inning with 2 outs. Fifth batter to come up here in the 8th. Mike Ferrara, who's hit by pitch, has already come home. A 3-run ball game after trailing by as many as 7. 0-2. Herlong 1 out, or pardon me, maybe just 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning with only 1 run coming home.
Stauffer 271, 1 homer, 20 RBIs this year.
Only runners on first base, says Stawicki. Stauffer sends it out to left. That's where Ethan Stringer waits on it. And North Greenville is 3 outs away from playing in the national championship as one of the final 2 teams. But first, a chance to grab their bats and add to a 3-run lead.
I believe that's a waxing gibbous moon, Lincoln.
Joe, I concur.
Just off the top of my head, I know a lot about moons. Just don't call it a planet, like a broadcaster in the past did.
On to the 9th inning. You could argue you have learned too much. North Greenville's 8-1 advantage has been trimmed to 8-5 gradually in this ball game.
Whoa.
They're going to say that pitch was high. Josh Center at the plate. 1 for 4 today. They would just feel a little more comfortable. Maybe a run or 2. But at the moment, North Greenville has never trailed in this ball game. That is 4 straight strikeouts from Fosnot.
He has struck out 5 of his 6 batters. Pulled the string on a changeup there. He's been dominating.
Zach Zara walked back in the 7th since entering this ball game. Jax Cash is scheduled to bat next. For the Golden Rams, their 9-1-2 hitters will be the minimum due up in a last-ditch comeback effort. Count 1-2. So we've got our 1 seed North Greenville, the 2 seed Point Loma is still alive. 6 seed Rollins still going strong. And Westchester, the 8 seed. Nice sampling throughout. A week full of memories, still more to be made. Still half our teams remaining as of right now.
Held up right there.
Count 2-2. North Greenville trying to trim the field of 4 teams down to 3. Zara reaches out over the plate, able to pull it. But Miles to Ferrara in time, 2 away.
Only a second batter to make contact against Fosnot. Give him credit. He pitched Sunday against North Greenville through 118 pitches in 6 innings. And here he is on 3 days rest doing a great job as a reliever.
He's had as much success as anybody against the number 1 seed. Well, Jack's Cash, as advertised today, offense and defense. Offensively, a walk and 2 singles, has scored.
Threw out a key would-be base stealer in the first inning that kind of set the tone for this game, as we talked about.
And secured another ball right at the backstop.
Yeah, that was a really nice catch.
Could not lay off that one, 1-1.
Yeah, those are 2 key plays defensively.
All defensive team this year for the Conference Carolinas. Able to lay off that one.
166 pitches for the Westchester pitchers. We've been saying that a lot, it seems.
That's a little over 1 Whitehead.
Well, he pitched over 150 pitches as a starter.
No matter what, tomorrow begins with Point Loma and Rollins in a rematch of today's ball game. Rollins will be the home team. The 2-2 to Cash. Right side, Ferrara. He'll take it himself. And the Golden Rams of Westchester, down to their final 3 outs, will head to the dugout, needing to score at least 3 before that 3rd and final out is recorded. Of course, they're always welcome to walk it off with 4. Golden Dreams of Golden Rams relying on the final 3 outs in this one.
9-2 hitters for the Golden Rams here in the bottom of the 9th. Leading off for something.
Bottom of the 9th, Zach Miles set to get things started. Brent Herlong back on the rubber. Westchester was able to trim 1 run off that deficit last inning. So right now the task is 3. Problem for NGU is if they happen to score that 3rd, as the home team, the Golden Rams could deny North Greenville a chance to answer and send us straight into a 3rd meeting of these 2 teams tomorrow.
Westchester has scored the last 4 runs in this game. This was an 8-1 game that became 8-5.
1 seed versus 8 seed. The 1 seed so far has had the better of the exchange. Left side, Monteith. And that window for a comeback has started to close a bit. First out recorded, as Pat Monteith has been as reliable as anybody over at the hot corner.
You do not want to hit the ball in his direction. You know, we talk about velocity of fastballs and exit velocity. I want to know what the velocity is when he throws it over to first base, and he makes it look so easy.
Top of the order for Westchester. Zach Wright, 2 for 4 today with a run scored. He's been left on base most recently back in the 7th after reaching on that error.
They got to get 2 men on. They got the table setters up here at the top of the order.
Bivens to Zara. 2 away.
That was pretty close. I mean, Wright can fly down the line, and Bivens didn't panic. Made a nice strike over to first base.
1 to go as NGU inching a little closer, being one of the final 2 teams playing baseball in Cary, North Carolina. But a thorn in their side, Justin Horn. 2 for 4 today, an RBI single in the 5th. her long throwing strikes. There might be some businesses in Tigerville closed tomorrow. And going into the weekend, we might see a mass exodus make their way across the state border, as the number 1 seed is 1 pitch away from moving on. Did not go. 2 outs, nobody on. A 3-run lead for North Greenville. Monteith, does he have the arm? North Greenville will play for the title. 3-0 in Cary. And they are 1 win away from Tigerville becoming Title Town.
Early offense was the key, taking advantage of some walks. The grand slam by Monteith. He made some great throws for the end of the game, as well as other throws that he made over at third base. And just being able to score the 4 runs there and 3 more and getting that big lead. And it was just too much for Westchester to overcome. Great season for the Golden Rams. They were able to battle back from the losers bracket and get to this point, but just didn't have enough gas left.
And they are confirming that North Greenville will suit up again tomorrow. The offseason begins tomorrow for Westchester, as 5 teams have been eliminated. The winner of Point Loma and Rollins tomorrow will turn back around tomorrow night. They have pushed up the schedule to accommodate for some weather this weekend. NGU is back in action tomorrow night. They will need to win only 1 more game in 2022 to be your national champions. Someone will have to beat them twice to deny them the top prize.
Yeah, just great performances all the way around. This is some kind of team. They're going to be tough to beat tomorrow and possibly Saturday.
For Joe Castellano, I'm Lincoln Rose. We'll talk to you tomorrow with at least 2 games remaining on the Division II baseball slate. It begins tomorrow with Point Loma and Rollins. North Greenville awaits the winner for the crown.